Well, yeah, today it's very complex, but there's been a lot of time for things to evolve. When life was just getting started, there weren't cells, there were proto-cells. They were way simpler. Okay, could life have been simpler? Scientists try to gauge what the simplest possible life form could have been by taking a very simple cell and removing as many things as possible without killing it. These papers took a very simple bacterial cell that had about 985 genes and cut it down to 474 genes. But the bug was barely hanging on, so they added a few genes back in to get a cell that was more reasonably alive. They found 493 genes were essential to keep the minimal cell alive. This work suggests that there is a practical boundary for how simple life can possibly be, not just today, but at any point in time. But in order to cut that many genes from the original 985, they essentially had to coddle the poor, hobbled little bacteria. You see, the original bacteria was able to make its own food from what was around it, like a big boy. But the downsized bacteria needed someone else to make his PB&J for him. And he was picky. He needed it cut into triangles and have the crust cut off. Dad, how many times do I have to tell? It required a precise cocktail of nutrients, basically life support, or else it would die. However, most of these life support nutrients couldn't have existed on a prebiotic Earth. If you try to simplify a living organism, removing some of its tools for survival, it doesn't just magically no longer need that thing. The only way to keep it alive is to place a heavier burden for survival on the surrounding environment. The organism just becomes more genetically fragile, unable to endure slight environmental changes, or it'll become dependent on other life forms to keep it alive, which, if you're paying attention, is not a possibility for the first living thing.